You read the title, so you know what it is. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're here with Walker and his WS6, and we've got the wideband AFR that we're going to be installing today, or trying to install. So there ain't much to talk about on this one, so let's just get into it. All right, guys, so first thing we're going to do is get this thing up in the air. Oh, just putting it up, and decide exactly where we are going to put this thing. So the sensor, and it comes with a little bung. So we will figure out where we're going to mount it. We'll have to probably take the pipe off the car, drill a hole, weld in the bung, and install the pipe back on the car. And then after that, we'll figure out our wire routing. It's got a harness here that goes to the sensor and then up to the gauge. And then this harness, which you can wire power and ground. And then you got these sensor wires that are used for different things. Two of them go to like the OBD2 sensor or connector, and then like if you're running like an aftermarket ECU or something, you could always wire them to that. But we're not going to use any of those. We're just going to use power and ground. And yeah, so which I got a little piggyback for a fuse slot in the the fuse panel, which he doesn't have AC, so I'll probably find an AC fuse that I can just rob my voltage off of. That way I don't have to worry about even using another circuit that's already used. So let's get up under here, see what we got to look at. All right, so I'm looking all week. Probably trying to. I kind of want it after the Y, but I don't know. We're gonna decide where this goes, and I'll get back with you. What were you doing, Walker? Eh? All right, guys, so we got the exhaust out. We have it marked. So we need to go cut the hole and weld in our new bung. So let's get to it. All right, so we're sitting here around the exhaust pipe here, and we got the hole cut for the bung. So still need to clean it up a little bit so it sits down in there right. I don't even know if that was in frame. I wasn't paying attention to the camera. But so I'm gonna set this down in here and get this thing welded on, and then we'll put this back on the car. Alex is gonna be featured in this video, I guess. All right, I got the O2 bung welded in. Walker is busy over here putting the exhaust back on the car. If you want to see my shitty weld or crappy weld, you can go check out his video. It'll be up here and one of these corners, whichever one it is. So let's get this thing mounted up, and then I'll show y'all once we get the O2 sensor installed and where we're routing all that. All right, guys, so got the wire, the O2 sensor, or well, find my place. Got that in there. It's got a little plastic catch, so I made a little notch in the heat shield, and then ran the wire up over it. The connector is wedged in between the heat shield and the body, and then the wire stays behind the heat shield all the way up, and then goes up there. So we'll go to the top and figure out our top routing, and yeah, see y'all in a second. All right, guys, so we were able to route that underneath the heater box here to help hold it away from the exhaust manifold. So, and then brought it up, kind of followed the AC line, and then it's gonna come across, and then we're gonna have to put a hole over here somewhere, drill a hole. I've got a little grommet that we can add, and then run the run the wire inside the car, and yeah, so I'll check back with y'all in a minute. All right, guys, so we got the wires ran. We got a hole drilled back there. Both wires are fed through there. We got the power coming out to a fuse out here. The AC cruise, 15 amp, and then the 5 amp for the actual gauge. Luckily, there's a nice little ground right here as well, so we didn't have to go far for that. Now we are working on, Walker is working on taking the A-pillar trim off. We don't have the pillar pod for it, but either way, once we get the pillar pod, the wires are gonna have to be up here so we can wire everything in from there. So yeah, I guess I'll show you once we get this thing connected and see if it works. So, all right guys, so all I gotta say is if you're working on WS6, this is gonna be your best friend. There is no room through there to get these wires, and it's like the slightest amount of space, and up underneath the dash is even worse. So, but we did manage to get them up there. Unfortunately, his gauge pod hasn't come in, so we're just going to plug it in and kind of lay it on the dash, and then whenever his gauge pod comes in, we will finish up and finalize the installation. But if you're just following this to learn how to install yours, just know this piece of wire right here will save you tons, because trying to get those wires up there any other way is going to be next to impossible. So let's get this thing plugged in and see if it even turns on. So yeah.
So, push button start.
Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. As you've seen, we did get the gauge working. It is reading. His car still isn't fully tuned yet, so there still is some tweaking that we need to make to the AFRs. Still needs to be wide open throttle tuned, so be on the lookout for those videos. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. Until next time.